Here. Scorn, the story explained. Let's see.
Video, we take a look at the story of Scorn and my personal interpretation of the meaning behind its very.
Again, it's all going to be interpretation because there isn't like an actual concrete story or narrative that was built and slid in. It's just going to be speculation. I'm curious if you came to the same conclusion though. I don't really want to watch all 14 minutes.
Story. Before we begin, there's an incubation room and discovers an alien weapon. A weapon that also doubles as a key to unlock and power up various contraptions throughout the environment. Upon powering up these mechanical devices, we hatch flying creatures, which then proceed to fertilize egg-like pods. These pods can be fitted to a structure which, once powered up, erupts in a shower of white goo and then sticks our hapless protagonists to the floor, at which point they pass out. Scorn then switches to the way out of this hostile alien dystopia. However, as the two make their way towards this exit, their movement slows to a crawl. The parasite returns and merges with our protagonist once more, consuming them as they reach out helplessly towards
this video is almost as long as the game.
Almost carried them to safety. Yeah. In the aftermath of this tragic event, we witness the horrifying result of this merge. The two humanoids melding together to create a mass of immobile flesh, one forever trapped inside Scorn's weird world.
Thanks, Reset Biscuit.
And that is where the story ends. On the surface, Scorn is a very jumbled game full of strange and nightmarish imagery, and an ending that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It almost seems a little pointless and lacking in direction. This is very much intentional, however, as developer Ebb Software seems to be far more interested in allowing its audience to theorize over the greater meaning behind their very symbolic imagery and metaphorical narrative. By doing so, we see the story in a new light and can make sense of why certain events take place. On a very basic level, when deconstructing this weird world, it's obvious one of Scorn's central themes is a twisted take on the story of creation. From the moment a baby is conceived to the moment they finally make their way out of their mother during the birthing process, as portrayed by this very suggestively shaped light portal during the story's conclusion. But this isn't a light-hearted story of the joy of creation. Instead, Scorn's narrative ventures into the cycle of both life and death. So let's begin with some of the ways in which Scorn presents a symbolic narrative based around the theme of reproduction. At the beginning of the game, we witness our protagonist born from an egg, and then detaching an umbilical cord from their bellies before making their way to a tower of light in the distance. The light representing birth, and this world representing the womb they incubate within. All of Scorn's puzzles revolve around connecting egg-shaped objects with other egg-shaped objects, which can be viewed as a metaphor for conception.
It's true, I forgot about that.
Fertilizing it, granting access to doors
everything was fucking egg-shaped.
World
true.
And closer to birth. The world itself is also full of suggestive imagery, a lot of which I simply can't show in this video. These images feed into the theme of reproduction and the creation of new life. We even see a human
I think it focuses more on the mother side of it though, instead of just blatant reproduction.
And this leads us into the other, darker side of Scorn's metaphorical narrative, that being death. As we observed, this entire world is unstable and slowly eroding. It is full of hostile entities which try to stop our protagonist at every turn. The remnants of a previous character who failed to escape this world.
Statues were giant cocks after all. Well, yeah, that became pretty clear when you had them like
of their life.
in the Kama Sutra
the
positions.
Goes deeper as we ourselves attack and kill alien babies in our pursuit of freedom. Though this process leads the mother figure to become distorted and infected herself. To me, this is a metaphor for complications during childbirth, this resulting in a miscarriage or stillbirth. This would explain
a bit of a
why
reach
the world
on it,
looks the way it does, why it is gradually disintegrating
I think
all
it's.
around us.
I don't think it's
During
necessarily
Scorn's
that.
final moments, we witness a doctor operating on our protagonist, whose consciousness then becomes one with a pregnant mother figure who tries to carry them to safety while the operation continues. To greatly simplify things, this seems to symbolise a mother who loses their child during an operation, one which occurs as a result of a complicated pregnancy. Scorn's ending suggests that the mother passes away during this surgery along with their child, hence the slowed movement as they carry them toward the light, both fighting to survive but ultimately losing their battle. In this way, Scorn can be viewed as a metaphor for both life and death, one that occurs before the child makes its way into the world. Viewing Scorn through this lens certainly explains imagery like the stillborn human we encounter early on, and the many corpses seen along the way. The more we think of Scorn in this way, the more its gruesome visuals and narrative make sense, although this is simply my interpretation of a very cryptic story, one that can be read in different ways depending on the angle you approach it.
And that's why I think it's not effective. A good ambiguous story is one where people follow threads and more or less follow a similar path but with different branching paths based on your interpretation. The problem with Scorn is there's nothing to follow. It's nothing but symbolism, but not well done. At least I guess not till the end. At the end it seems they want to say something, but since the entire journey there kind of was jumbled, it doesn't have anything to follow. Like, again, if I'm getting pretentious with it, it seems like a game about motherhood. I see why a lot of people latch on to that one. It seems like that's what it's mainly focused on towards like the entire second half. But I just don't think that's well done. Like, I don't find that effective for storytelling, because it's not storytelling. You're inviting the community to tell their own stories in your setting, which for some people is cool, but for me, not really. I would have rather they give me a really interesting